Hey everybody, Mike Johnson, PWInsider TV here with the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer. Just finished up a match against Joey Ryan, FWE. How are you doing, sir?
I lost. I'm pissed. And I bumped on Legos. And my elbow actually got cut from Legos, and it hurts pretty bad.
So perhaps you can challenge him to like a Lincoln Logs death match.
We got to do something. I got to go Tommy Dreamer rules, because that gummy bear, wiffle ball bat, and all that stuff hurts. I guess the barbed wire and the thumbtacks, all that stuff, that's the easy stuff. So,
of course, March 7th, you have a show coming up.
1 month away. The road to House of Hardcore. Can I say that? No, that's lame shit. Yeah, so a month away.
So, main event on that show is Young Bucks against Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. Pretty unique match. I wanted to ask you your thoughts on why you put that together, because I think Aries and Roode teaming, kind of a unique situation there. The Young Bucks obviously very unique, very special. One of a kind tag team right now, a lot of momentum. What was the thought process in putting that together?
Here we go. Aries and Roode said they wanted to work together as a tag. I originally wanted to do the Dudleys versus the Bucks. Also, kind of what happened from there. The last House of Hardcore 7. I would have loved to have done Dudleys versus Bucks versus Hardys in a TLC match, but I wouldn't have the availability to do have Jeff there. So kind of like playing with stuff. I was also going to do the Young Bucks versus Daniels Kazarian, which I did, main event at House of Hardcore 6, and I loved the match. Ring of Honor reached out to me about having the Young Bucks work earlier that day for their TV. I wanted to have the Daniels Kazarian, who too are working as well. So they didn't get back to me in time. So I had to announce at least one match. And I truly didn't want to announce any matches, but until the show, I want to get to a point where I just announce House of Hardcore and it sells out.
Kind of like ECW used to.
Correct. But I'm not at that point yet, though the house is doing very, very well. And I'm expecting another sellout. So I said, you know what, Aries and Roode versus the Young Bucks will be different. It'll be a great wrestling match, and it's never been done before. So that's how I came up with that creative process. And then after that, then Ring of Honor said, yeah, you can have Daniels Kazarian. And I was like, shit, but cool. So then I put them with Bubba and Devon, because I think that'll be cool. Plus with all the good stuff with Bubba and Devon, Bubba going back at the Rumble, people chanting for, we want Devon, I will give you what you want. And so Devon will be there. And then myself, I had nothing for myself. And then the whole stuff between me and Eric Young, which also has a little bit of TV behind it. Then I said, let me do me versus Eric Young. And I got more. I have surprises booked, and I don't ever let
There's going to be more surprises?
And yeah.
Well, last time you did pull out Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo's first appearance together post-WWE.
Exactly. So who knows who's going to have their first post-show appearance, or someone who we haven't seen in a long time. Who knows? Got a lot of friends in this business.
So I do have to ask you, were you very disappointed that TNA edited off your pants exploding from the Impact broadcast?
That has nothing to do with House of Hardcore. For those of you who missed it, that's really the reason why we're feuding, is because Eric Young jumped me in Manhattan, gave me a pile driver, and at that exact moment, I'm so fat, my pants split down the seams on impact of the pile driver. I totally wish it gave me Shawn Michaels like assless chaps, because that would have been great. And then when they bring me to the back, they also Bobby Roode was like, get some help, and I yelled, for God's sake, someone get me a seamstress. And but that part was too cut out.
So getting back to House of Hardcore 8, March 7th, Philadelphia at the 2300 Arena. Going back to the arena when you'd sold it out just a couple of months ago. Was that always part of the plan? Are you coming back a little earlier than you expected?
No, it wasn't part of the plan. You especially know this. I really had no intention of going back, but then, the National Guard Armory was, I think, no longer available. The arena opened up. The arena said, I want you to be, come back there. And so let me try it out. And it worked out, and it worked out great. That was a beautiful night. It was an amazing night, and it made a lot of great moments that myself, I know you were there for all of them too, that got to experience when it was part of the original ECW, and it was moments like that made me want to go back there even more. And so I'm happy it's sold out. We had standing room only, 2 capacity, so now hopefully we get that again.
You know, House of Hardcore has been kind of a slow building process in terms of a company. You know, you mentioned at the last show you kind of want to do maybe 6 to 8 shows this year. Any plans on that, or any further updates on that? Is that still in your mind?
Oh yeah, probably the March show, announce a next show. I've been working on a few other shows. I just haven't had anything. I always got to back up what I say, and when you're also running a promotion, you have to back up what you say with contracts and all that stuff now. So I don't like when people say, hey, we're going to be the next big thing, or hey, this is going to happen, and it either fizzles or there's no big announcements. When I make an announcement and I say there's going to be a show, there has to be a show. So,
one last question for you. You know, you've had the promoter cap on for a while now. You know, even though you were heavily involved in the inside of ECW and you worked backstage for WWE in prominent positions,
yep.
When it's your own show and you're running your own show, does that give you different insight into why maybe Vince McMahon or Paul Heyman make the decisions that they've made over the years?
100%.
So talk about that a little bit.
I see a lot of how Vince is, and I see a lot how Paul was. I do see a difference in how both of them are and how they can treat different situations. And, dude, at times I felt like I was in a time warp. You know, on my last show I had my EC3, who I was supposed to wrestle, get injured before the show. I had Davey Richards not going to be there, and Jigsaw not going to be there. I had to change my whole show. And it, almost out there remind me of the old days when Paul Heyman would go out there. You don't lie to your fans. You go out there, you tell them what's up. And I promised them a cool show. I had a lot of surprises, which I feel is a huge element missing in professional wrestling. And it paid off. So I see stuff like that, and there's also where you want things to specifically happen, and they don't happen. And if you go, you got to question those guys. Hey, I wanted this, and you don't do this. It's one or two things. You have to do as I say. If we don't have a compromise, then you can't work for me. And I could see the Vince McMahon factor is there's a big fear factor. Everyone wants to please Vince. And but it's also they do their job because they're afraid of losing it.
Right.
And, I don't like to be like that, but I'm very, very straight up. Hey, I asked you, dude, we all have jobs. And, I asked you to go to McDonald's and make French fries. You want to make cheeseburgers? Hey, guess what? I'll find someone who wants to make, French fries. I don't need someone to make cheeseburgers. But I really haven't had, I give a lot of creative freedom because that's how I was blessed. And, the product has stood. We've done well. We've had 7 really, really good shows, and they keep on getting better.
At the same time, you're given all that creative freedom. You're also working for TNA as an agent.
Yep.
Why is it that a company like TNA or even WWE don't allow guys that creative freedom, especially in a show like TNA that's pre-taped, where they can post-produce it?
TNA, the guys do have a lot of creative freedom in their matches, and I cannot answer for WWE because I'm not there. But TNA, the guys have a lot of creative freedom when, especially with me, when going over with their matches and everything. They may not have as much creative freedom with the outcomes or, post-match, pre-match stuff. But in their matches, a lot of people don't realize that also there's time constraints, when you're going to go to commercials, all stuff like that.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for your time. And, of course, if anybody wants information on House of Hardcore, they can check out houseofhardcore.net for DVDs and Blu-rays and also tickets for the March 7th show. And, of course, they can follow Tommy Dreamer on Twitter because he never, ever stops tweeting.
Tweeting whore.
You're tweeting whore. Well, until next time here, and you can follow him, what is it, at The Tommy Dreamer.
The Tommy Dreamer.
So there you go. So at The Tommy Dreamer. And for everything else, check out houseofhardcore.net. And, sir, thank you as always.
Thank you, buddy.